Um, and then the other thing is lightning. Lightning storms are common. Mountains make their own weather, which is why in the high Sierras, when you're out in 90-degree weather, it can become hypothermic in under or about 2 hours. So a storm system comes in, it compresses, makes some thunderheads, and you got a lightning situation. During a lightning storm, despite the fact that you can read all kinds of information in wilderness books about what you should do to be safe, there's no place that's safe in a lightning storm. So, I mean, if you can get into a ginormous cave that's, hundreds of feet of dirt over the top of you, yep, that's safe. But those just aren't going to exist in most of the areas you're going to be hiking. So there's really no place that's safe, but there are places that are safer. And safer means down in lower valleys, off of cliff edges of mountains like the Grand Canyon that come to a sharp edge, get struck predominantly more than other areas in the surrounding area. So get into a flat area, you don't want to be in a sharp upper elevated edge. So if you're up on a mountain and you're coming down a pass and it looks like there's a system coming in, hightail it down into the flat areas. You want objects that are taller than you in every direction. You want tall trees around you. You don't want to be up where you're exposed and more likely to get struck. If there is a lightning storm, spread out. You don't want everybody hiking within a few feet of each other, because if lightning strikes next to your party, it can arc across everybody, and now everybody needs medical attention, and who's going to help, right? So spread out, get some distance between each other, 50, 60, 80 feet, and keep moving to lower locations where you're not on cliff edges or up on high points. Then if a lightning strikes near somebody and they're burned or injured or they're in trouble, there's going to be other people who didn't get hit that can go over there and try and help the person. So try and spread out, and don't get underneath little rock overhangs. Those are called spark gaps. You'll be incinerated. A big cave is okay, but those types of things are dangerous. You want to be low with other things taller than you are, and there's really no place safe. There's also a common myth that if you see the lightning strike and then you count and you measure how far away it is, and if it's such a distance away, that you're safe. That is complete and utter BS. Okay, I think the longest lightning strike, or world record lightning strike, from cloud to ground was 115 miles or something like that. You can look it up. It may have been changed since the last time I looked at it, which was years ago. But lightning can go horizontally and hit, not just straight down from the cloud. So the bottom line is if you can hear it and you see it, you're already in danger. So get to a lower location where there's objects that are taller than you, and there's also something called the cone of protection or something, where you have an object like a big pine tree, and if you go out like this and kind of make a 90-degree triangle, if you're within that cone, the lightning is most likely going to strike the tree. Now, the closer you are to the tree, the more likely that ground currents are going to zap you, so you don't want to be close to it, but you don't want to be so far out that you're outside that cone. So you can try and stay in the protection of objects like that are safer. Again, there's no place safe when you're out even your house is not technically lightning safe. You can be killed inside your house. So other than huge deep caves and caverns that you can get into, there's no such thing as safe, there's just safer. And if you are hunkered down in a lightning storm, you're down in a low valley and you're near maybe some tall objects like a tree or something, you're in that cone and you're just waiting it out for the lightning storm to stop, keep your feet together. You spread your feet out and a lightning strikes, and the ground currents are going to move in a pattern away from that lightning strike. They'll go up one leg, incinerate your jewels, go down the other leg, and if it doesn't kill you, it's extremely painful. Keep your feet together so you don't have that happen. And having rubber-soled tennis shoes is helpful also to insulate from the ground currents. Don't stand in water and things like that during the lightning storm. Keep your feet together if you're hunkered down. But there's really not much more than that you can do other than stay separated, so if one person gets injured, you can help. And the other critical thing is if somebody has a heart attack in the wilderness, they're basically dead. Without a defibrillator, there's no chance of CPR bringing them back. A lot of people don't realize that, but if you read the Wilderness Beyond First Aid book that I mentioned, you'll realize that if somebody has a heart attack and their heart stops, the only reason to do CPR on them is so you don't feel guilty later that you didn't try everything to try to save them, but you're going to pump their heart forever, it's not going to restart, and they're going to die. Lightning's different. When a lightning strike hits you, it disrupts your electrical system, and the person can appear dead, their heart stopped, And the best thing you can do is start applying CPR to that person and continue until you can't keep going. So if you can at all do any kind of CPR to that person, you've got energy, you can still keep pumping their chest, you keep pumping it even for a half an hour, because their electrical system could restart at any time and you can save that person's life. Heart attack, they're pretty much dead. So, all right, so that's lightning. And then the last thing is, what happens when somebody gets lost? So when you're out with other hikers, somebody might get lost. And if you're out with kids, it's even more likely, because in the blink of an eye they disappear. People are trying to keep track of things, they get distracted, the kid goes off this way, and now you've lost somebody. So one thing that you need to do is everybody in your party, including kids, need to be trained on what to do. And there's lots of things, again, go back to the wilderness books on things you should explain to kids. It would be much more detailed than what I'm going to get into. But the most important thing you can teach your kid and other people who are going backpacking is stop. And stop stands for stop, or sit, I'm sorry, sit, think, observe, plan. So the first thing you do when you realize you're lost is stop traveling, because you're probably going to get further away from people who are looking for you. So the first thing you do is you sit down. And you sit down and you start thinking about what happened. Where did I go wrong? So you're not panicking and just continuing moving around, getting worse and worse and worse. The next thing you do after the thinking is observe. You want to look around at your surroundings. Look at the mountain peaks that you've been paying attention to, that you've looked at on the map when you went over your route plan with your trip leader and so forth, and say, oh yeah, okay, this mountain peak's here, that lake is there, so my camp should be over here. And that's where the planning comes in. After you do your observations and you so forth, then you plan on what you're going to do. And if you don't know which direction is what, and you don't have your compass with you, which is really stupid, you can put a stick into the ground and it'll make a shadow, and you just make a little mark where that shadow is. Wait about 15 minutes, make another little mark where the shadow moved to, and so on. And that shadow is going to make several marks, and then draw a line along that set of marks, and that's going to point basically east-west. And so, you're going to see as the sun is going over, you're going to have a series of marks there, and you basically know generally which direction is which, and you can try and navigate out. So remember the stop method: sit, think, observe, and plan. And so don't get yourself more lost. And then if you are looking for somebody, it's better to go in pairs. If there's more than one of you, if there's just two of you on a trip like Andra and I go, then obviously I can't search for her in pairs. But it's better if you go in pairs so you don't get lost, and also have a plan. So talk to the other person that's searching with you, or people that are searching with you. Maybe you go out and search for a little while, and then you come back to camp to regroup on what you found, look for footprints, all that kind of stuff. So you need to communicate. Don't get the next set of people lost. Use your whistle, call out first. Don't traverse large terrain until you've at least made a vocal or whistle type call for the people. If you have a dog with you that's been trained to search for people, like our dog, use the dog. The dog can smell and hear a lot better than we can, and it's more likely to find the person than we are. So, those are the types of things you think about, but you need to be careful that the people searching don't become the next people that need to be rescued. So, something along those lines, and again, there's a lot more detail in outdoor wilderness books, but you really want to think about what you're doing and be safe when you're out looking for somebody. And if you're the person lost and you have just no hope of figuring out which direction to go, probably the best thing to do is just sit there and keep calling out or blowing your whistle, hoping somebody will come by. And this is where staying on the trail is critical. If you're off trail, no one's going to come by ever. If you're on trail and you're turned around and lost, if you keep whistling and so forth, there's a high probability that in many areas that eventually somebody, if not your companions, will come by and pick you up. So anyway, so those are kind of some of the safety tips and things to think about when you're out actually backpacking. And in between all of that stuff, try and have a good time and enjoy yourself. So anyways, that's kind of the end of the series.